Good morning. Time for coffee with Carma. And today I'm going to be talking about your book's introduction. Now, my philosophy on a book's introduction has changed recently because, well, I have to thank Dan Henry for that because I got to show you this. I got his book. It's on the lead magnet. And in it, he talks about this framework for creating this perfect lead magnet. And this essentially, if you're writing a client attracting book, that's what your book is. And it doesn't matter whether it's a short book or a long book, that's what it is. It's a lead magnet of some sort. And because I come from a more academic background, I always thought of an introduction being an introduction to the topic. This is what I'm going to talk about. But when you're writing a client attracting book, you need to do a little bit more in that introduction. Your introduction is an introduction to your topic, yes, but it's also an introduction to you and why you are the person to listen to solve the problem that you talk about in your book. So, how do you craft a magnetic book introduction? And I really liked the framework that Dan Henry talked about in his book. And that was it's a story, it's a before and after story. So, first, you need to understand what is the problem that you are solving with your book. Then you tell a story from preferably your own life, but it could be a story from a client that you've worked with. And I suppose you could also do one that's sort of fictional, that's a conglomeration of your life and clients' lives into like an ideal story. But basically, what it does is you have a before, and it paints this really uncomfortable picture of before. It includes the problem that you're solving in the book and the emotions that you felt, or the character in this story, introduction story, felt being in that before state. Then, just like in the hero's journey, there's a pivotal moment that said, and then this happened that changed everything. And because of this pivotal moment, I took these steps to solve my problem. And now I know how to solve the problem. And I feel these things, which are the opposite of what I felt before. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. All right, now in this book, I'm going to share with you how I solve the problem and how you can too. So, your introduction, again, this is for client attracting books. It won't work for all books. It doesn't make sense for all books, but for a client attracting book, one in which you want to build rapport with the reader so that at some point during the book, beginning, middle, or end, they think, gee, I need to hire you to help me solve my problems. You want that introduction to be something that not only introduces them to the problem, but helps them understand how painful that problem is and that they should fix it. It needs to tell them why you are the person who can help them out of their, as another mentor of mine says, poop puddle. Help you out of the poop puddle. That's Bushra. By the way, she's doing her Hot Leads challenge this week. I highly recommend you do that. I'll drop a link in the thing after this is over. And it introduces you as a human being. You need to be relatable because people like, at least in the world of coaching and teachers and the online space in general, people like to do business with people that it's beyond know, like, and trust. It's relate to. They need to feel like they see themselves in your story. Because if they can see themselves in your story, then they are more likely to think you are the person to solve their problem. So that is today's Coffee with Carma, all about creating a magnetic book introduction for a client attracting book. I hope you found today's tip helpful. And if you've got ideas for future Coffees with Karma, drop them in the comments. I'm going to be doing this 5 days a week. I'm going to need a lot of ideas for what you need to learn. What are you seeking information on? I can drop some tips for you in future Coffees with Karma. Ciao.